Hi guys, it's Sam with Spieler Custom Baits. And today we're going to be tying a chartreuse and white football jig. We're going to start out with a 4/0 football jig, powder coated white, and with some 200 denier white thread. Going to get a good tie around the neck and then clip off that tag end. And we're going to start off with some of this short barbed chartreuse skirting. Place it into the skirt holder and drape it back over the whole jig, arranging it to how we want it to sit on that collar. Get a few wraps in there just so that we can rearrange this. And once we've got it where we want it, we're going to go ahead and get a few more wraps to tie it down. We're going to repeat the process on the back side of the jig. Getting this into the skirt holder. And matching it up with the one that's on the top end. A few loose wraps just to get it to stay in place. And we're going to rearrange that to where we want it on the actual collar of the jig. Now a couple tight wraps to get it in place. Clipping the skirting up, keep it out of the way. And those tight wraps. Alright, with this jig I wanted to do something a little bit different. So I'm using Marabou Crystal Flash. We're going to be adding a few strands of that evenly throughout the collar of this jig. Just taking two, spacing them out, a few wraps. And then we're going to grab a few more. And tie those right in there as well. And a few strands more. And those tight ones that just kind of lock it all in. Just kind of putting some of these into the skirt holder just to try to keep them out of my way. And we're going to grab some white skirt material to fill out the body of this jig. Start off with a few loose wraps. Rearrange it to where we want it, and then tight wraps to lock it into place. I'm going to add one more tab of white into this. Just want it to fill out a little bit more than what it is. Placing that into the skirt holder. And a loose wrap just to get it to stick to the collar. And then going to rearrange this to where I want it on the jig. Tying that all in. Grabbing another clip to try to get this stuff out of my way. As you can tell, it was hitting my hands while I was wrapping. That's why it's always handy to keep some alligator clips or something similar around. And we're gonna whip finish this jig as well. These types of jigs, it's better just to go kind of slow, as you're probably going to get caught up on either your clipping material, skirting material, etc. There's our first whip finish in, and we're going to go for one more. I think I knocked over a few rolls of thread there. Alright, and then we finish off that with finish, making sure that we don't have any of our material stuck in there. In here I had a piece of the skirting in there, so I grabbed my whip finisher to kind of pull on the skirt just to move it out of the way of the collar and the knot. Alright, just pulling down, making sure that that's tight on there. And we're going to take a little bit of adhesive, add that around the collar. Just keeps the knot from coming out. And then we're going to use a wire finish on this as well. On these lighter colored jigs, I prefer to use a silver wire. The wire that I happen to have this time around is only, I think it's a 26 gauge on this one. So it's a real thin wire, so we're going to have to go for multiple wraps down the collar of this jig. Just nice even wraps all the way until you reach the head of the jig. And then this wire is thin enough that I can twist it by hand. You want to twist it until it gets tight enough that it starts to pull on your wraps on the actual jig. And you'll see the actual wrap start to move, either be pulled tighter in, or some will try to move underneath each other. You want to finish twisting before that happens. Then we're going to clip it with a couple of wraps still left in there and push that up onto the collar of that jig. Now we're going to undo our clips and cut our skirt. Get all of that out of the skirt holder. You know, starting out, we're just going to try to grab the tabs, leave all the marabou flash out of the actual skirt cutting process. And that's because I want the marabou flash to be slightly longer than what my skirt is. And again, with the front, we're just going to try to grab the tabs, keep all the marabou flash out of the way. And cut those. Alright, I'm going to rearrange the jig now before I cut the marabou flash. As I said, I want all of it to hang out just slightly beyond my skirting material. So I'm going to place it in, the head faced up, and grab those crystal flash pieces, get them arranged kind of where I want them, and cut about 1/4 inch down. And there you have it. We have our finished jig. The Chartreuse white with crystal flash. Crystal flash just gives it a little bit of more fish attractant, just so that it's seen in the water that much easier, and hopefully gets a reactionary strike. Thank you guys again for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed.